Good evening. Hello. Thank you all for coming out tonight to our freshman new student information night. I'm Beth Coffey. I'm one of the Spanish teachers here and also the student activities coordinator for West. We are so excited to get started. We had a great 3 days of freshman orientation, meeting new students, getting them familiar with the school. Looked like they had a lot of fun today at the barbecue. We caught them dancing a few times, so we had a good time together. Today we're going to go over just some expectations, things that are new. We're going to hear from our freshman class advisor, our head principal, a representative from the PTA, and our assistant grade level principal. So I'm first going to hand it over to Ms. Darlene Fleming. She's the freshman class advisor. Thank you, Beth.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome, parents, grandparents, and guardians. My name is Darlene Fleming. As Beth had said, I teach science here at West, and I am the freshman class advisor, and I will be with your students for 4 years until 2027 when they graduate. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm very excited at this new opportunity, and I'm looking forward to having a lot of the students get involved in a lot of the clubs. There are over 100 different activities that the students can be involved in, from sports, plays, theater, student council, band, choir. So the most important thing to have a successful time at high school is to be involved. So I encourage you to encourage your student to get involved. It's so much, the kids have so much fun when they're involved in a lot of the things in the activities. I coach field hockey and I also coach softball, and it's just a lot of fun to see the kids have a lot of fun and great times together. I'm located in H5 and H6, so I also have a Google Classroom, so please ask your student if they have signed up for that. If they haven't, I'm sure there's a friend that has, and if not, they can find me at H5 or H6 to get the Google Classroom code. They will get all the important information from that Google Classroom for things that happen for the freshman class, as far as dances, pep rallies, how to get involved, pictures. Of course, everyone wants to know when they're going to have their pictures taken. So all of that's really important information that will be pushed out and posted in that Google Classroom for the freshman class in 2027. So I wish everyone a lot of luck. I may have a lot of your students this year because I also teach toxicology and neuroscience, which are electives. So I'm looking forward to a great 4 years with this class. And congratulations, you guys are almost out of having your kids. All right, 4 years, sorry, it is 4 years.
As Darlene said, there's lots of ways to get involved. Our main goal is for them to get connected. And we've tried to introduce that to them in the last 3 days. We have access for them to have the Google Classroom. There's also the Student Activities website that I just updated this summer that has all the Google Classroom codes for all the grade levels, but specifically the freshmen. It also has a document that has every club that we currently offer with the advisor's email, their Google Classroom code, their Instagram account, so any way that we can get kids connected is what we're looking for. So make sure to check out the website. There's a grade level section, but also there's a general area of clubs and events that they can get involved in. You can also follow, if you're into social media and getting involved that way. The Student Activities does have an Instagram account. It's on the website, but it's just CHW Activities on Instagram, where we'll post when kids do things fun. We like to celebrate when there's successes, advertise for things that are available for them to do. So if you want to give that a follow, we're constantly promoting new things that are happening. I also want to introduce Ms. Jackie Caputo, who is part of our PTA. They have a table set outside where there is information for you, but she'll share a little bit about what they do to help us out. Well, really the students.
Can you guys hear me without the microphone okay?
Yes.
Sorry. I'm a New Yorker. I'm really, really loud. I usually don't like microphones. Welcome. My name is Jackie Caputo. I am the PTA president. I see lots of familiar faces, so welcome to some of you. Welcome back to some of you. I have been a parent at West on and off since 2010. So I've been here a really, really long time. And I will echo what I'm sure everybody is going to say about getting your kids involved. It is so important. In my house, we always said nobody gets to be on the 3 o'clock bus club. We don't want them coming home and having nothing to do but sit on their phones and watch TikTok. I will also say this to you, and then I'll see how many of you sink down in your chairs. You should also be involved. And I'm not going to ask anybody to chair a committee. That's not what I'm here for. The PTA at the high school level, you'll find we won't bother you so much as we did when you and your children were in elementary and middle school. We are here kind of as an oversight. Our biggest fundraiser is membership. It's $10 to be a member. We ask that everybody do that. Every now and again, you'll get an email that there's a restaurant night or something like that going on. But for the most part, we support the other organizations here at West. As your children get involved, you should be involved. If they're involved in sports, theater, music, be a booster parent. Nobody says you have to be the president. Again, do something, show up for something. We only have 5 meetings a year. You can come for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They're informative. We have teachers come out. Again, it's not what you've seen at the other levels, but you guys being involved is really important. And Carol Rostov was Ms. Coffey's predecessor, and she always used to say that when our children are young, we want to be there. We want to be there when they get home from school. We want to be involved, know their friends. And then we kind of, as they get older, we let them be more independent. We figure they can let themselves in after school, right? A lot of us have codes on their doors now. We don't need to be there. And she would say it is as important, if not more important, to be involved in your child's life now. Now is when you want to know their friends. You want to be the parent who's driving them all over the place as much as you're going to complain about it. You want to listen to the music they're listening to as much as you want to stab your ears. You should know what they're hearing. And I will say this to you, I mean, take a look around, not just the faces that are next to you, near you. You guys are all in the same boat right now. Take a look. The West is one of the most amazing places. The staff here is amazing. Look to those of us who have been doing this for a million years. Don't sit and ever think that you're the only one going through what you're going through. And I will share this with you. I have had the child who almost didn't make it past freshman year. I had the child who fell in with the wrong crowd and had to take summer classes in order to become a sophomore. I came here and I said, help me. And they did. Okay? That child went on to graduate college in 3 years, and she's very successful. She's 27 years old now, but we turned it around, and I could not have done that by myself. I was a kid. I didn't know what to do, and they helped me. Dr. Malash helped me. He was principal here. That's how long ago that was. They helped me. Ask for help from other parents. Like I said, get involved. That's why it's important to know your kids, know your kids' friends, and their parents. This is your support group. That's what PTA is here for. You need help, you need advice, you want to know who to go to. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know, and I'll go ask somebody else. I will ask Ms. Coffey, I will ask Dr. Burns. These are people who are here for you, here for your kids. One of the things that I love about West is not just about turning kids out for college. We're not here just to worry about test scores and what they're doing in class. They want to make sure that your child is well as a whole person. Utilize the services that are here for you. And that's what I said. Come, please be involved. Be involved with PTA, be involved with boosters. Get your kids, make sure, again, don't let them be on the 2:30 bus home. If anybody has any questions, I am probably going to run out because I have to be back here at 6:45 tomorrow morning. But all the paperwork is logged. I'm going to leave it on the table. My email address is out there. Again, utilize the resources that are available to you. Ask the questions. Please join PTA. It is $10. There are forms on the table. You can do it right online. And again, if you guys have any questions at all, here. My board members are here too. I won't wait a minute. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Jackie. We're so thankful for the support that they give, and she nailed West in a very great way. Right? We love kids. We want them to be involved. We want them to have a great 4 years, and I'm really excited to be in this role to help out with that. Next, we have Dr. Burns. He is our head principal, and we're super excited to have him in that role this year. And he's going to tell you all about the expectations.
Good evening, everybody. All right. How many of you are first-time high school parents? Okay, look around. So, as Ms. Caputo said, there are a number of you that this is the first time around. okay? Use your support network. It's very important to, be able to navigate the high school experience. I did high school here, graduated in 19. Although in the letter that I sent you, I did indicate that when we start, really officially tomorrow, with the teachers coming in, it will be my 50th first day of school, either as a student, teacher, administrator, so I've done school a lot. But for the 9th graders, this is their first time of high school. And that's very important. We respect that, we treasure it, we enjoy it with them. And if you have other kids, they may have done high school, but this is this particular child's first time in 9th grade. And your experience in 9th grade may not be their experience. It could be better, hopefully it's better, or if yours was fantastic, hopefully it's as equal to that. Because it's a critical time. They're transitioning out of middle school. We get that transition. We understand it. A number of us, have dealt with it. I have my kids are grown and flown, as they say. So I do understand that transition. But I do need you to understand a few things, especially as so there were so many new parents to high school. So things count now. Things count. If a child fails a class, if it's required for graduation, as Ms. Caputo said, you're either going to have to take summer school classes or you're going to have to take the class again next year. We can't just move them through. They have to achieve a passing grade. We have things count for college. Discipline records sometimes have to be reported to colleges. One of my kids had an application. They had to list even if they got detention. Okay, so yeah, which was surprising, but given the time and things that were happening, they wanted to really make sure of what was happening with the students. But I will tell you, the days are long. The days will be long. There will be frustration for you with them, with us perhaps, with your child with you, with each other. But the years are short. The 4 years will fly by, and then you'll turn around, and now we're at Temple University graduating, in a beautiful air-conditioned facility, with screens projecting their faces, and we do all this beautiful ceremony, but it's going to turn around, it's going to be there like so fast. So enjoy this time with them. Get on the ride, enjoy it. Come to the things, get involved. Know your kids' friends. I heard one parent saying, well, Mom Uber's got to get ready to start. You've got to be ready to go. So, it's absolutely very important. We start at 7:30, okay, not 7:45, not 8 o'clock. So I told the freshmen when I spoke to them the other day, this is middle school, okay, 8 o'clock, we have to start adjusting the clock. So if you're working at home with your students and trying to help them be ready for 7:30, you've got about a week to, kind of nail that down and start easing that bedtime. And how many of you are getting up at 12 or 1 o'clock? I said, yeah, that's not going to work. Okay, 7:30, we shut the doors, and we're ready to learn. We're ready to get going with school. So, and I, for better or worse, I'm a stickler about time. Just the thing with me. I like to start on time. I only have your children for a finite amount of time. They start 7:30, day ends at 2:30. The learning that takes place within that time is precious to me. I don't like to waste it. So, it's very important that, everybody's here every day as best they can, so that we can take care of our learning. There's a homeroom period that begins at 10:30, so in the middle of the day, so the students will either eat lunch or they will have homeroom, and then at 25 minutes later, they will switch. And in that time, there's a break in the day. So they're either having lunch or they're having homeroom. And in the homeroom, we're going to be doing some things with the students about building community. Our big thing is the West Way. we try to strive to live the West way. Some of you might see when you come to the school, the sign that says the West way. So what is that? Well, the students defined it as kindness, diversity, and legacy. So those are a few important things. And even as I think about it, my legacy has shifted as a student here. I was a teacher at the other high school looking at West. And I was an administrator here and at East, and then finally here at West. So my legacy has shifted, but I was assistant principal, now I'm the principal, so my legacy shifts yet again. And it's, you know, for the students, I told them, well, what will be your mark? What will you leave at the end of 4 years? You know, what will your legacy be here at school? So we turn the page, and the class of 2027 is going to start writing their material. What are they doing? How are they getting involved? Some kids are already out on the band and the sports fields making a mark. And, we're seeing how that's going to look. If you drive your children to school and you are late, you're late. If the bus is late, the yellow limousine, if they ride the yellow limousine to school and it's late, we account for that. We take care of that. That's the problem. The mom Uber or dad Uber, can't really do anything about that. Parents, we look for you to advocate for your student, but as freshmen, you're going to do a little bit more, but you'll gradually, as was indicated, start turning the reins over to them, having them be independent, being able to speak with the teachers, having your child be able to ask questions of the teacher is very important. We look to see that skill develop over the 4 years. So that's something you may work on with them, is the how to talk to teachers in terms of being able to advocate and ask questions of, I don't understand. But what don't you understand? So, coaching them in that is very important, so that they start to get that in their mind, like, oh, if I tell them I didn't understand how to factor this equation because I didn't know the x, that shows the teacher they've got some, but not all. So we're trying to get them to work on that. We do engage in restorative practices. You may have experienced that at the middle school. We look to deal with that here. We're training our new staff in it. So what that means is that we look to get at the root cause of what's going on, why did the behavior occur, but also about repairing the relationship. So we have your children, let's say 8 hours of the day, you have them the other 8, and then maybe they sleep 3. Now, granted, those numbers skew. They maybe sleep for 3, or they sleep for 12. You try to balance that out. But during the time with us, we try to make sure that we are looking out for them, we're taking care of them. And we're going to try to work with them as best we can. If you have a question, please email the teacher first if it's a classroom situation, and they will respond to you. If they don't, you can reach out to the supervisor, or if the response, you need a little bit more, you can reach out to the supervisor, or ultimately me. As some of you have found out, I am pretty responsive. I tend to answer pretty quickly. I take pride in that. I think it's important, just so that we can try to resolve issues as best we can, as fast as we can. One thing since there's so many newer 9th grade parents, you have to understand that in this building we have students who are 13. Your students coming out, but we also have students who could be up to age 21 with some of our special ed programs, or our general ed population who could be 19. Okay, so you kind of have to think about that in terms of relationships. And if you as a family have to have some kind of conversations about that, as Mr. Caputo said, about knowing who your children are hanging out with, who your friends are, that kind of thing. Because there could be a situation where an 18-year-old is maybe asking your 14-year-old to a dance, to an event, to some sort of event. How do you feel about that? Have you had those kind of conversations at home about what your expectations are? And I only just kind of bring that up to just make you aware of it. We've already had one football game away at Eastern. We have a second football game tomorrow at home. And maybe somebody's giving a ride or something like that. Are you okay with your child riding in a car with another student? Okay, so those are things you have to think about, and you have to decide for yourself. We're not going to tell you, what to do about that. That's totally up to you. But if you haven't thought about that or had those kind of conversations, it's something to think about, because the students start and things start happening. And I always want to make parents aware of some of these things, so that when your student comes home and says, "Hey, I'm going to go to so-and-so's house," well, are you getting there? Who's going to be there? Where are the parents? That kind of stuff. There is something that happens, though, from time to time. I haven't heard about it a lot. Maybe just because where my office was before by the Jones Gym, I missed out on things. But now I'm in the middle of the action, so I hear things. You have to be careful if you go away and your child says, "Well, Mom or Dad, could I invite a couple friends over?" Okay, let me just tell you, there's 1,300 students in this building. It could be the situation where you might have 1,300 students at your house. Because you said that I could have a few friends over, but a few friends, that gets blasted out on the phone. We're told that, in the hallway or whatever. Next thing you know, you have half of the class, and maybe older kids, at your house. I have experienced this situation, and during my time as administrator, we ended up calling a set of parents who were out of state. They may have been even out of the country, if I remember right, and Grandma was watching the house. The kids figured out how to kind of get over on Grandma, and next thing you know, that there was a whole big party planned at the house. We caught wind of it. We were able to squash it, got a hold of the parents. They kind of worked it out with Grandma, what was going to happen, and we were able to kind of squash the situation. And if we know about it, we will let you know. If I find out something that I think you need to know, I'm going to call you and ask. And you may say, "Oh no, we got it. It's under control. I know what you're saying. We're good." Okay, fine. But if not, we might be providing information to you that could be very important. Because if you have a few friends over and something happens, you as the parents could experience liability with that, were a bad incident to happen. And we wouldn't want that for anybody involved. I don't want to bring doom and gloom to it, but I do just want you to be aware of some things, because when the kids start, things happen. And things are happening, and weekends are happening quickly. Just so you're thinking about that, and at least have an awareness that if it does pop up in your house, you know what to do, or you at least thought about it or considered it. We want students to think of this place as like their second home. Obviously, your house is the first home. We're the daytime home. There's so many things to do. There's two parts to the day. There's the 7:30 to 2:30 day, and then there's the after 2:30 day. If your children are involved in music and theater and sports, that day could run fairly long. We love that. We love to see the kids there. I will talk tomorrow. I have a slide on my presentation for the faculty about getting involved and us seeing your kids there, you seeing us there. It's all part of that relationship building. It means a lot in the classroom. I was a coach, but I can talk to my kids, and I would see, that play the other day, but just being able to have those conversations is so critical. So you will see us at events, myself included. But we want, the kids to get involved and see and discover their passions. When they start to think about life after West, because we really need to start having those conversations. What will life after West look like? And for kids at West, it's going to be a variety of different things. So for the senior class, I've signed off on some of them having half days. And I've required them to tell me what they were going to do with the time. Okay, you're leaving here at 10:30, 11 o'clock. What are you doing? And they've talked about shadowing, at a job. They're going to work with their dad, they're going to work with their mom, they're going to work at this company or place. And there were so many different options. It was so exciting to see, and sit and talk with the students, with each and every one of them. So we need, as we start as freshmen, we're going to start looking and seeing what will life be like after West, and helping them discover their passion. All right, my final thing. How many of you have read the summer reading? Anybody read the summer reading books? Okay, don't forget those. Okay, don't forget there is a summer reading. Your students did have to read something. There is information. If you don't know where to find it, email me and I will try to help you find it. But there is a summer reading, so you might talk to your students about it. So sometimes, I know I did, but my ex-wife would talk to our children about the reading, because she would read the books with them and they would discuss, characters, themes, and whatever was going on. And it's just another way to kind of have a sense of what was going on. So you might do that, but just don't forget that summer reading is a thing. It is real, and they will start. And don't let them tell you, no. It's there. It's a thing, and it will come up like fairly quickly as we start the reading. All right. Excuse me. Well, do I make house calls? I have a PhD. I can call myself doctor. Is Dr. Im? Does doctor make house calls? I have shown up at people's houses, but those have been more like residency and wellness checks. If I need to make a wellness check to make sure that A, they're getting up at 7:30, and B, going to read the summer reading, I guess I could. I've been around this town for a long time. I am proud to be here as the principal. I did not believe that I was ever going to be the principal of High School West. It wasn't something I had thought of, but as last year played out, the opportunity arose, and I took it. And I'm really looking forward to working with your students. My door is most likely always open to them, unless I'm in a meeting or out in the building in the classroom. But I want them to feel comfortable here. I want them to feel like it's home. Our staff is here to work with your students. And if you need us, reach out to us. We are open and willing to help you as best we can. That's my expectation of them. And I will reiterate that with them tomorrow. But that I would close. We welcome you, class of 2027 parents. I will see you throughout the time of various events, but this collective group, probably we will see each other in June something of 2027 at Temple University, that everybody is graduating. That's my goal. We want to get everybody there. All right, thank you. Next up will be Ms. Lomon. She will talk as the grade level principal for the class.
Good evening. I'm Elisa Lomon, and I am going to be your child's 9th grade house principal. And I'm really excited about this opportunity. One thing I wanted to start off with was our mission statement for Cherry Hill School District. We shall provide all children with an education that develops open-minded thinkers with the strong academic and interpersonal skills to thrive in an ever-changing world and make it a better place for all. So when I actually applied for this job, I was looking at the website and I was like, that mission statement just made me so sappy. I was like, oh, make the world a better place for all. But that's what I believe is our job as educators and as families, is to produce, kind children, right? Kind children who are then going to become the adults of our world. And, we also want to make sure that they're open-minded thinkers and that they're academically successful. So our job together is to make sure that your child graduates on time and is prepared for post-secondary success in college, the military, or the workforce. So I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. I supervise the science department here, as well as the counseling department, the guidance counselors. Student advocates, I oversee the grants at West, so I'm in charge of Title I, CTE, ESSER funds, yeah, all that fun stuff. But we have money. And we use that money to increase student achievement. So we are a school, and our job is to make sure that we are making sure your kids are learning, right? And that they're successful, and that they're prepared for college and beyond. I also wanted to share with you that I actually do have a family as well. I'm married, I have 2 children, and I live in Cherry Hill. So I raised my kids here. I chose to come to Cherry Hill because I thought, you know, I want my children to be raised in a diverse school environment where education was top-notch, right? And that was important to me. We have such a great reputation as the Cherry Hill School District, and when we talk about the West Way, and when Dr. Burns was talking about legacy, well, I want to keep that legacy going. You know, our kids get into, you know, great universities here. And it's important to me that we keep that reputation going, which means I'm a stickler, like he's a stickler for time, making sure, well, he's going to be on me to make sure your kids are on time. So if you get a letter in the mail, it's because, yes, I'm going to have to hold your kids accountable for making sure that they're here, present, because if they're not present, then they're not learning. So I also wanted to share that my daughter graduated last year from West, and so she started in Cherry Hill from, you know, Barton to Carusi to West. And I chose West for her. Well, she kind of chose it herself, but I didn't want her to be in an environment like where I felt like she would be stressed, you know, academically. And I know like there's like differences we always say about like West versus East, but what I want you to know is that we are just as academically inclined here at West. And I'm proud to say that my daughter went to Princeton University. Thank you. And I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that because, you know, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, because I don't even like telling people, to be honest with you. But I'm telling you that is because I want you to trust me, right? I want you to trust me that, you know, I kind of think I know what I'm doing, you know, as far as education is concerned, and, you know, but it's not me, it's the teachers here. It's the teachers here who helped her become successful. It's the teachers who taught her how to read well, write well, you know, take all that multivariable calc nonsense. But, you know, I believe in the Cherry Hill School District. And so, you know, I take great pride in being an administrator here, because, you know, I want you all to know that, like, I take my job seriously, you know, and I want your kids to be successful. So one thing I will be telling your kids as I meet with them again during that first week of school is that their GPA really matters, and that their freshman year is the most important year for their academic career. So I kind of try to use a little bit of math. If you get a 2.0 your first year of high school, and then you get a 4.0 the second year, well, then your average is what? A 3.0, right? So it's a lot harder to bring it up than it is to maintain it, right? So it's really important that they really try their best their freshman year, and we have tons and tons of support. So I mentioned that I was in charge of the Title I grants, and so we have homework club here after school, Monday through Thursday. We have teachers who stay after school and work with kids. We also have a virtual homework club, so they can go online after hours and meet with the teacher to get help as well in the 4 core subject areas and Spanish. So if your kid is struggling, what I need you to do is encourage them to really advocate for themselves and, ask their teachers for help. And I know as a freshman student, they're shy, they might be a little intimidated, when, I take my kids somewhere and they're like, oh, can you ask that person? No, you speak up for yourself. If you want to know something, then you ask. And with COVID and, the cell phones, being on their cell phones all the time, they've lost some sense of communication skills, right? And so we want to make sure that we're really communicating with them about the importance of advocating for themselves. And Ms. Caputo mentioned, making sure that you're involved with your child. Check Genesis weekly. Check their grades. Don't stop caring. Don't think that they have it, because their freshman year, they're going to need you the most. They're really going to need you the most. It's a big transition. And monitor your child's cell phone use and social media. I didn't really want to talk too much about HIBs, but it's a real thing, okay? And I'm not here to scare you, but if your child is, gets a HIB, then it's a 10-day investigation. And if it's founded to be true, it's on their permanent record. Harassment, intimidation, bullying. And I'm not here to give a whole HIB lecture, but there's HIBs and then there's conflict. So they're two separate things, okay? They're two separate things. But if your child is founded to, say something that they shouldn't have said, right? It can cause some issues. So just make sure, give your kids strategies. If they don't like someone, then don't talk to them. And if they have nothing nice to say, just keep it to yourself. Don't say anything at all, right? And treat others the way you want to be treated.
Don't say it online.
Yes. That's a big, I can tell you, as the supervisor of the counseling department, with the HIBs, yes. And we don't do the investigations, by the way. That's all handled by our SAC, Student Assistance Counselor, okay? So I might call you and say, hey, sorry, but your child is involved in a HIB accusation. It will be investigated. And I won't know any information. I won't know any details, and I'm just reporting it to you to share that information. But after 10 days, then, a report is made and the determination is made. It goes up to the superintendent level, to the board level. So I'm just mentioning all this because that's part of high school, and I'm sure you may have known about it in middle school as well and elementary school. Sorry, don't mean to dampen things on you. One other thing I wanted to mention that has been said repeatedly tonight is get involved. And so we have the best theater program here, right? We have the best band here, marching band, we have this, the greatest sports, and I can guarantee you that if your child gets involved in at least one activity where they, feel like they have that's where they will feel that sense of belonging. And we want them to feel like this is their home, as Dr. Burns said. We want them to feel like, I want them to be happy. No one wants, kids coming into school and just like, oh, I want to be here, right? Like, we're here all day, every day, right? Monday through Friday. And of course, we want your kids to be happy. And so our focus is on student and staff wellness. Our focus is on student achievement and connecting beyond the classroom. I know that school isn't for everyone, meaning, everyone's not going to college. Well, I want to make sure if you're not going to college, then what are you going to do? What workforce are you going to be in? And, you know, we want to make sure that you're successful. You know, there's people who are YouTube geniuses and make millions of dollars. So, Dr. Burns also mentioned, don't impress your experience onto your children. So like if you weren't good in math, don't say, oh, it's okay, I wasn't good in math either. Okay? Because then they think they can fail. Then they think it's okay. And then they give up. And then they might try and take it over the summer. This year we were fortunate. We had some COVID funds and we were able to offer some summer assistance. But I was just told today, this is the last year of that money. So guess whose pocket's gonna come out of? Not mine, yours. Okay? And they're expensive. Those summer classes can be very expensive. Ninth grade mentoring. So Dr. Burns mentioned that you will have like a ninth grade, your students will have a ninth grade homeroom teacher. So at lunchtime, that ninth grade homeroom teacher that's assigned to them, which were selected, right? Teachers who want to be mentors for your children, okay? They want to be helpful. They want to see them be successful. So those teachers work together this summer, and I have the best PLC coordinator, and she is awesome, Miss Riley, and I'm just telling you now that you will be in good hands. So that mentor will be the one that your kids should ask questions, you know, every day, like, oh, what's going on today after school, or, you know, what club activity, you know, where can I go to, you know, join this club or that club. So make sure that you talk to them about their ninth grade homeroom teacher and encourage them to ask questions. No question is a dumb question. And I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to say I can't remember my daughter's freshman orientation, so I don't remember coming, or I just might not remember the night. And if I don't remember the night, and that was 4 years ago, that's what I'm saying, it's going to go quick. It's going to go quick, and you're going to forget a lot of things that, you know, happened over the years. So make sure that you're really invested and that you're present in your kids' lives, because we need you, and please communicate with us. If you are worried about, you know, a conflict that your child's having with someone, call the counselor, call me. My extension is 1740, okay? Call me, because I would rather be proactive and get ahead of it. I would much rather prevent, you know, something from happening, and just by using our words and talking with each other, okay? So let's partner together, please. We are one community, and I'm really looking forward to a positive year, right? And so I'm gonna try my best to stay positive every day. Dr. Burns is, teachers are, and we're looking forward to working with you. So thank you. Have a wonderful night. If you have questions, ask Miss Coffey. Just kidding. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Is a realistic enough amount of homework being given so that these kids can pursue extracurricular activities?
Yes. So we have expectations for students, for teachers to, you know, not give, let's say, homework on right before vacation, like a holiday, like we
No,
all
I
believe in
asked about activities. Like you don't want the kid to be doing homework all the time instead of doing the activities if the kid wants to.
So
do the
I can speak, so I like run like 1,000 clubs, it feels like, and I just stopped coaching this year to do the student activities position. And so I've been working with a lot of athletes. I run the Athletes Against Bullying, I run the Lions Roar. And I would say that like our kids that are involved in activities, they have plenty of time. They're here all the time. They're highly involved, and most of our kids are involved in more than one sport. A lot of our athletes are 2 to 3 sport athletes, and they, one, as an athlete myself who played in college, they do better in school when they're involved. I know for myself, so they have the time, but none of my students or my club members express being overly worked. They have time to be involved, and they have the support of their club members or their coaches, and they have this time during the day with the lunch period, the homeroom period, to get stuff done. So there's plenty of time. I would say our students do better when they're active, because then they use their time wisely.
I have another question about the busing. So is it a 2-mile walk is acceptable? I was told 2 miles.
2 miles, I believe, is the law.
Okay, I just want to be clear because, you know, he's going to be carrying all of his books and he's going to be walking down Chapel Avenue with general traffic.
A lot of times they might not get a lot of books. We do a lot of the resources are online or in Google.
My apologies, I graduated in 91.
And I'm older than you.
I remember having to walk home from school. I went to Lenape and lived in Mount Laurel, and I had to walk home because I missed the bus.
Right.
With a backpack full of books, and
Right.
hours of homework to do. So you know.
Encourage your child to clean their book bag out, because I do with mine. I'm like, you're gonna break your back. Like my daughter has like a huge book bag, and this year we bought her a smaller book bag so that she could put less stuff in it.
Thank you
A
very
lot
much.
of times they won't necessarily need the books because they'll be using in-class resources. So the students will work with the teachers to figure that out.
Because he had a lot of Carusi, you know. I mean, he had a huge book bag.
Bring
of
a
Carusi.
charged Chromebook to school every
A
day.
charged Chromebook plus a bunch of books, you know.
Yeah.
Math,
And then to say that needs to be, we told the kids to stay orientation. Like a locker is readily available to them if they want them, but they will find that 90% of the high school students do not use a locker because there's nothing to put in it.
That's what my son said. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, and as a Spanish teacher, I mean, I haven't used a book in probably 8 years.
Biology, the freshmen will not have a book, so that's one course there. I mean, some of the books that they read for English class would be smaller.
And oftentimes, a lot of our classrooms, if they do have a textbook, they often have a classroom set of books where kids can leave their book at home if they do have reading for homework. And then, I know history does this often, where they'll have a classroom set for when they need it in class. For that reason, just because our kids aren't carrying them as much. And really, the main resource that they need is a charged laptop.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
All right, so yeah, that is a good question. There are two.
What is the drop-off and pickup like?
Yes, so there's 2 zones. If the students ride a bus, they will be dropped off basically right outside here, this atrium area. And they will come into the building and they will be supervised until it's time that they are released to go out into the building to their classes. There's another drop-off all the way at the other end of the building.
Where they came in for professional orientation.
Yeah, where you may have dropped them off there by the Jones Gym area. So there's a drop-off there, they'll come into the building, they'll be supervised there until they're released to go to classes. The main entrance area is open. There's a sign posted though. It is closed from 7:10 until 7:30. Okay, so if you get here early, you can drop them right off at the front door, which is fine. But then they would be in an area where they'd be supervised. So there's really the 3, but mainly it's 2 because most of the kids don't want to get here at 10 after 7. Oh, Mom, I don't have to be there till. You drop them off when you're comfortable, when it works for you. The building basically is open at 7. We will supervise them until 7:15, then they're released to get to their classrooms. Teachers should be present in the classrooms, and then they can maybe get some help or do something until school starts at 7:30. So those are the 3 drop-offs, but mainly the bus is one area. Most of the cars funnel through the Jones Gym, and then the main entrance early.
And I will kind of make a note too about Jones Gym, sorry to interrupt you. That is also where a lot of the juniors or seniors will have their parking pass and also where the teachers park. So that parking lot is a little bit busier. If you're coming at 7:25 to drop them off to get there at 7:30, you're going to wait in a little bit of a line. So when we're talking about kids getting to class on time, you want to just be cognizant of that. That can be part, although you may have planned to be here on time, the commute from your house is not that long. If you're coming in some of these entrances and everyone's coming in a little bit late, you're going to end up being late to class. So just, you got to factor that in. That parking lot, also juniors and seniors are hitting Wawa and then coming to school. So that parking lot.
Starbucks. So please understand, when I say on time, that means 7:30, your child is in school, in a seat, in a classroom. So we're ready to start at 7:30. That's the expectation I have, and I will be making that readily clear, as will the assistant principals. That's when school starts, not at 7:40, roll in whenever you want. No, 7:30. But as the assistant principal, I was down in the Jones Gym area, and it's absolutely true. Like, this parent said, "Well, I left the house at 7:20." Okay, but you hit all the traffic. Because the seniors, they have it down to an exact science. If it rains, then they get a little bit messed up. But if everybody arrives when they're supposed to and doesn't throw anything off, it all works for them. But then for you guys, you kind of have to, you're in that mix too.
Back.
There are 5 of them. I believe there's 5 or 6 late buses. Those buses start to leave at 4:15. We have had situations where there was one bus that the driver couldn't get there until about 4:25 or 4:30. It was just one. But we provide supervision. There is a room. It's down by the Jones Gym where the students will gather, and there'll be adults around if they are staying after school for something, or the coaches will help them, And then we have a staff member in the late bus room who will help them figure out what bus they're on. It does help if they know what neighborhood they live in and your street address. Okay, I swear that I've had to look up a student's address. Okay, so these are some of the little tips that you need to do. Now, on the first days, when they're trying to get to the regular bus, we will help them. But again, it does help if they know maybe their bus number, that they write it down, or they put it in the notes of their phone, so that they say, "Oh, I'm looking for W4. All right, yeah, we can help you get there." But if they show up and they don't know any of that information, it's a little bit tricky. Yeah. Well, that is a classroom-specific or teacher-specific thing. We leave that up to them. The district does not have a policy banning cell phones, because for some students, that is their device. And they can access Google Classroom. They can access some of the software platforms that we use in the building. So we do not take that. And then if we were to take them, there would be a number of parents that would be absolutely upset about that, because they want to have 24/7 access to their children. But please understand, when they're in our building, we all did not have access like that. Our parents had to call the office, leave a message, stuff like that. But some parents and kids are texting back and forth all day long. And calling, yes. The parents will call.
Please don't call your child during school or text them. I'm guilty of it too. I know it's hard not to, right? But if you can try not to, please, just do it from 10:30 to 11:30.
Yes, 10:30 to 11:30.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Text away.
This gentleman right here. Okay.
So 300 LB1, LB2. I had a junior here, so I know next year it was kind of like trying to maneuver and line up a room, and sometimes I know that's not this year, but a lot of times they also had activities like she would have her choir rehearsal, or there would be like a student government meeting. Are those things still going to happen during the day, or are they after school instead of lunch period?
Some of that will be pushed after school. We are looking at how we can structure time, but for the start of the year, no, it will have to be outside of that time. Because we are trying to build the relationships and things like that. We always had homerooms. During COVID times, we were able to experiment and do things a little differently, but students and staff did not like the unstructured nature of what it was. And I kind of tend to be a structure, systems in place kind of person, and I like that better. That every student has to be somewhere, because you call us looking for your child. I want to be able to say, all right, they're either in the lunchroom or the cafeteria, or they're in this space. We weren't necessarily always able to do that, and that's not a comfortable feeling for me. I get it. The help piece, we will have, during each lunch period, there will be, for the core subjects, we will have staff members who will be stationed in a room. And if your child needs help in something, they will get a pass from the teacher. They can go to that classroom, get that math help, that whatever help. We're talking through how we would want to maybe do the class meetings and things like that. But for the initial phases, we want to try to build the relationships and setting the expectations, really. Just trying to kind of tighten things up and make sure that kids understand, how do you act in high school? That's pretty important. All right.
It's typically posted on the athletics website, or the registration will become available. And they also have, I'm assuming their coaches will also start sending that information out.
Right, they will have interest meetings.
There's a window per season.
Yeah, we do open windows, because then we try to focus the paperwork on those. But one thing, for those of you who are first timers, they do practice during the December break. They do practice during spring break. So you do need
both spring breaks.
Yeah, well, this year it's both spring breaks, yeah. So you just need to be aware of that. So as some people like to go away or whatever, but as maybe freshman year, it's not as critical unless your child's a varsity player. Then the coach is going to say, oh no, you're a starter, you can't, that's. So you have to understand that it's not like middle school where there were clearly defined seasons that stopped around breaks and things like that. They do practice, they do play games. Games do not stop over the December break and or the spring breaks, because we don't always have the same breaks that our Olympic conference fellow teams have. So we're constantly playing and involved in tournaments and things like that. So, but yeah, information will come out. They will have interest meetings. I will try to put that out in a newsletter. If I catch wind that there will be sports meetings or club meetings, I will try to gather that information, or at least be able to point you to a link of where it's happening. So then you can ask, hey, the spring softball is going to start. Are you thinking about trying out? Yeah. Yeah.
So, and one of the nice things I'll say about with Instagram, so there's the Cherry Hill West one and student activities or athletics, but oftentimes when one person posts it, we all just repost each other's, knowing that at some point someone's going to see it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, so I know for student activities, I'm not athletics, but when I saw that cheers having tryouts, I'm posting about it. Because at the end of the day, we just want communication to be there. Yeah. That's what we're trying to bridge that gap.
Right, but whatever email you put in Genesis, I think there were only 3 emails that did not work in the emails that I sent yesterday through the system. I'm having Ms. Lomon's secretary reach out to the parents and to try to get a correct email so that we are, it's 3 out of 300 and some is fantastic. So I do have access to all of them. So I will be sending weekly updates, and I'll try to capture as much information or links and things and activities as I can to try to keep you informed of what's going on.
everything for them. So every day they know what day schedule is. You're welcome. Yeah, it is. And sometimes they come in, when I see a kid come in my class and they like look around, they're like, I don't know anybody in here. They've gone to the wrong period. Again, through the student activities, every Monday I post which day it is and what home activities are happening that week. So it will have it on there, but again, the Saturn app's perfect.
And we will be out in the building helping them navigate their way. Because they end up down at my office, Jones Gym, but they need to be all the way up here. We gotta, all right. And sometimes I'll say, all right, I'll get you this far, ask the next adult to get to the next zone, to try to.
And there is lots of grace in the first week between teachers.
Yeah.
We understand. Even upperclassmen are confused. I do not think so. I think
Not unless you log in with their
Yeah, I have student login.
login. Yes. And it looks like a planet. I just wanted to say, I might stop your kid and say, relax, it's okay if you're late, look cool.
The bus won't drop them. The bus has specific places that they go. So yeah, if you're not, they would because the bus goes. Well, we have, like I said, we have 5 of them, and they go to certain neighborhoods. We have buses that go to the east side of town. They won't stop near. Most likely, they're not stopping near your house if you're within the 2-mile radius. Not to my knowledge. 2.5. Okay. I would start with the guy. Yeah, but if it's an address change, if you have moved, you have to go to the Lewis building, the registration, and you have to show proof that you still reside in Cherry Hill and that you are living at the new address. So just like when you enrolled your student, you do have to do that process again, were you to move within the time of high school. And we kind of figure it out when we send things out via mail and it comes back to us. Then we're calling your student down, hey, what happened, this doesn't match, oh yeah, I moved. But then we have to call the parent and say, you have to go to central registration and make that address change. We can't even change an address.
I'm a second parent, and I'm not listed as a guardian, so I put myself in there, but it didn't come up, but I'm not going to be notified. So there wasn't a spot change.
Yeah, work through the counselor. Sometimes they require the court paperwork that indicates guardianship. In some instances, we've had to go through that process. We'll have the records of what parent is able to receive information, not receive information. We deal with it all. We just need to know who can do what.
How many kids are in the freshman class?
304. That would vary.
We try to keep it at 25.
Yeah, some classes will have
Go up to 30.
12, if it's a special ed classroom, there might be less than 12. It just depends on the numbers, but up to 25-ish, 30 tops.
Yeah, my smallest is 17, my biggest is 28 this year, so it does vary.
Yeah, it depends on the subject, the level. Multivariable calculus, as was mentioned before, had like 5, 6 kids in it. Yeah. It wasn't me. I went to this school, I was not in a multivariable classroom.
We hope you found this information night helpful. We don't want to keep everyone here all night, so, because we do have to be here early tomorrow morning. But if you have any additional questions that weren't answered, again, email Ms. Coffey. I'm just kidding. I'm Lomon at chclc.org. It's ELOMON. Okay? Have a great night.